We have 3 additional rules that will help us with simplifying and rewriting expressions with exponents. The first one is the negative exponent rule, which tells us that a to the negative n power, so something like a to the negative 2 to the negative 4th, is the same thing as 1 over a to the n power. So we take the reciprocal of that expression, since we can write any number over 1. To get rid of a negative, we just flip that fraction. To think about why this makes sense, if we had an expression like a to the negative n, we could think of that as a to the 0 minus n. Which would be the same thing as a to the 0 power over a to the n. So using that quotient rule, we know that a to the 0 would just be 1, so this would become 1 over a to the n. So we can look at justifying those rules. We can also just commit these rules to memory and understand how they work, but I'd like to touch on them at least briefly so it doesn't seem like we're just making all these rules up out of thin air. The power rule and quotient rule are a little more direct. If we have values being raised to a power, so in this case we have a times b, those 2 factors to the n power, this is equal to a to the n times b to the n. And for the quotient rule of exponents, power of a quotient rule, that exponent applies to both the numerator and denominator separately if we want it to. It will just depend on the problem which form is more advantageous, but we can always rewrite expressions using these rules to help us break down or simplify things if that helps us.